Our assassin takes advantage of Paladin Ali's absence to break into her room, to study the lock for later. He goes around town, buying up lamp oil, silk thread, clay, a net, and fish hooks. He then combines the net and hooks to create a trap. On the day he plans to execute his plan, he spreads a rumour that the Paladin will heal all those who arrive at her inn during the evening. When the crowd shows up, Ali is initially very suspicious, but eventually starts healing some of the gathered crowd before retreating to her room. Our assassin decides to put his plan on hold as the Paladin was already on high alert. He spends a few days waiting and spending some quality time with Sophie, his beloved cat. After Ali spends another evening of healing, he springs into action, soaking the trap and bedding with the oil he bought. He sneaks out and finds all the locked doors and stuffs their keyholes with clay. He then starts pouring oil beneath the Paladin's door, and once he is satisfied there is enough oil, he lights it on fire. By the time the Paladin realizes something is wrong, the fire is already raging, but she does manage to break down the door, running into both the waiting assassin and the net trap. With his advantage, he makes quick work of the Paladin and her little dog too. He quickly takes his leave of the flaming inn and slips off into the night, heading towards the sheriff's house. As the sheriff has left to see the chaos of the fire, our assassin helps himself to the magic dagger. He returns to his room at the Forester, and he decides it's time to leave town. He reports to Ripley and also learns of his next assignment. He must not only kill the Count of High Castle, but also secretly kill his heir. How easy will he infiltrate the Pleasure Palace? How useful will his new dagger be? Will he take Sophie on his next mission? Let's find out now on Assassin.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Assassin. How are you doing today, Rob?
Not so good. I've had a realization.
Oh no!
So as I was saying to you earlier, I'm a week and a half away from being an unemployed therapist,
Right?
and this was bringing to mind a conversation I had with a friend of mine about 2 years ago on a really amazing, highly regarded show called Shenanigans.
Okay.
I remember
I hear that one's really good.
It's amazing. There's a guy on there is just he's brilliant.
So good.
And I remember at the time you were failing to get a very diverse cast, aside from the token Hispanic.
Mm-hmm.
And so I took it upon myself to try to do some of your job for you. And I was trying to recruit a friend of mine who was a woman to see if she would be willing to, and then I would say, "Hey Neal, here's a woman." And she was a therapist, and she said, "No, I couldn't go on this D&D show because I have clients, and if somebody Googled my name and then saw me on this D&D show, that I could get in trouble with the organization I work for." And I was just like, "Oh, that's just silly."
How could she get in trouble?
Well, she worked for a government agency and a lot of you must show propriety and all that kind of stuff. And then it occurred to me as I'm going out getting ready to get a job that if somebody like an employer or a client Googles my name, they might see this show where I murder somebody every week. Carefully planning it out, burning children, all those kinds of things. And but then they might go, "Oh, but that's probably not." Oh no, it's a video. It's definitely the same guy. So yeah.
Well, To all of Mr. Barrera's future employers, he's not really a psychopathic murderer. Except he is. He really is. This is his true identity. Run! Run! Don't hire him! Run! I'm just kidding. He's great. Great. Push the button, Rob.
Talked about this deal.
Yeah, but I think, we always just go by first names. So it'll be pretty hard, because I don't think your last name shows up in any of the SEO. I think you'll be fine. But also, would you really want to be hired by someone who couldn't...
name all over the place, Neal.
Could you... Yeah, but would you really want to be working for somebody who didn't enjoy occasional murder?
I don't know. See, if I was an employer who enjoyed occasional murder, I would kind of want that to be my thing. I wouldn't be looking to hire people below me, ambitious, looking to climb the ranks, who were also, had managed to pull it off and had skills in planning out how to do it and make it look like it was a complete accident. And
doesn't this just really show your ability to connect with people, no matter how dark they may be? I would expect as a therapist, you would need to learn how to accept your clients. You might get a client who's done terrible, terrible things and is trying to get over the horrible things that they've done. And I think your participation here in Assassin just shows that you would be a good therapist, even for someone who has a lot of baggage with them. It just shows that you can connect, and that's an important quality in any sort of therapist.
Yeah, I kind of feel like they might want someone who can talk to the horrible person without judgment. They might be a little more wary about someone who could talk to the horrible person and give them tips.
Well, you wouldn't be giving them tips. You're not a professional assassin that I'm aware of.
Definitely not.
Definitely
no hiding
not.
In plain sight here.
Nope.
All right, so let's
see
our political assassination that can't be seen by anybody, and we'll ignore all the political posts I put up on Facebook all the time.
Oh God. Well, Assassin here is an apolitical show. We have no political orientations or goals other than to just cause chaos in the world. That's a pretty noble goal with no signs or leanings one way or another. And here we are on our world map in Eridon, the largest kingdom in Arcadia. And we are looking to kill a fella. You are hanging out. I shouldn't say hanging out. You are meeting with Ripley, your watcher, your handler, the person that is the middle woman between you and the architects of all of this assassinating stuff, who get the word from Malchus on what they need to do and then kind of filter it down till the trigger man here pulls the trigger. So, you are with Ripley. You're outside of High Castle in one of these side shops on a road between a myriad of villages. It's kind of a quiet day, a little bit on the cold side. There's a nasty, drizzly, freezing rain. But the little shop here, it's not quite a tavern, not quite a tea shop. It's more of just a little way station. Has a fireplace with a nice roaring flame in it. There's only a few other patrons around. The hosts are coming and bringing food and drinks and heading back to the kitchen where they have their own little fire that they huddle by. And you and Ripley have a spot 20 feet from the fire, one of the colder sections of the tavern, but you want to be nice and away from everyone else so you can speak in silence or speak in secret. Ripley gives you a welcoming nod as you approach. and says to you, are you ready? We have another mission. She has a bit of a hungry look in her eyes.
I say, I am ready, but ready is nothing. No matter when the time comes, we must all be ready, whether we are or not.
Good. Good. Well, today we are going to be talking about Frederick Drooper. That name have any significance to you?
I suspect it soon shall. I'm going to try to do an insight check to see if this is... I'm trying to determine, my guess is that her hungry look is that this is going to be a big job for her that moves her up if I pull it off.
Yeah, insight check.
All right.
Yeah, you can see that this mission has particular significance to her. Seems very excited to have this one done. The rest of these missions, she's been fairly apersonal about. You know, this is just a name. This person needs to go. It'll help sow chaos. It'll help break up this, stalemate of law that has been like crushing the world and keeping it from growing and continuing this like oppression of a ruling class, and it all just needs to burn. So she's been sort of like, this is just what we have to do. But this time, she's got wide eyes and she's excited. It looks maybe a little bit more personal than professional interest in this. Anyway, she says to you, Frederick Drooper is the heir to High Castle. You might be familiar with his father, a man named Albron Drooper. He looks at you for response.
I give a little nod. I assume I've probably heard of him.
Yeah.
Lord of High Castle, etc.
Lord of High Castle. I think this is the guy who bought up some land on an island to the north and started mining there, looking for silver. Was it? Sun. We're talking about.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that changes things a lot.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought it was like a dwarf that bought up the.
I think the dwarf was the man who was like in charge of running the mines, but the guy pulling the strings behind the scene is the Count of Highport. I think the dwarf was Olin Furin?
I remembered it was something strange like that, so the whole Drooper thing meant nothing to me.
Yeah, okay, maybe we didn't go over that. Yes, the dwarf was Kel Olin Furin, but he was the captain of the guard for Albron Drooper, and we're looking at Albron Drooper's son and sole heir to the county, Frederick. So, there is an estate not too far from here, in the southern section of the Easter Bluff Hills. Sorry. Little distracted there for a moment. Anyway, this young man is a bit of a layabout. His father has been running High Castle for many, many, many years now. And unfortunately, he has just one heir. And his brothers and sisters have all passed. And none of their children have survived. In fact, there was really only one cousin, or I guess niece or nephew, and that poor one died in an accident when they was quite young. So the whole Drooper line is quite narrow right now, just Albron and Frederick. So the idea is to bring an end to it and throw High Castle into chaos as they must find a new lord amid all of these dying lords and ladies all over the place. She looks around and realizes, still in a public place, and lowers her voice a little bit. So we need to get Frederick quietly. People think that he's been murdered. They'll quickly realize what a precarious situation Alberon is in. So, quietly, very, very quietly. No suspicions roused. Just needs to have an unfortunate accident like his cousin, or something to that effect. As I said, he's a bit of a layabout. Not the greatest heir. Might have worked to just let him inherit and rule things, but enough good advisors exist that even an incompetent fool could possibly run the county. So we're gonna remove him. He's got this estate he's staying in for the summer, well away from the city where he can't get himself into more trouble, like he often does. And there are many servants and household staff. There are some that might be retiring. Some might be retiring prematurely. And we have some contacts that can get you in there, a job, working for them, possibly as the groom. The existing groom is a bit of an older fellow. His heart is a little weaker than one might expect. His name is James. And just about anything these days could send poor old James pushing up daisies. If that were to happen, well, there would be an opening, and you look like the sort of man who can handle a horse. So, easy job. If that's not the route you'd like to go, though, we do have a single potion of invisibility. It doesn't last super long, so I would recommend it as a tool for reconnaissance, since we do not have a layout of the estate. Any thoughts thus far?
Position is groom or a potion, not both.
Definitely do both. So she will slide a bag over with her foot from her chair to your chair. Say, here is the potion. I can give you verbal directions to the estate itself, but you'll have to deal with James. It shouldn't be hard. He's 90 if he's a day. Oh, and I should mention, it's not just household servants and staff. The loyal but somewhat grumpy bodyguard of our dear Frederick here is a gentleman by the name of Cotton Hill. He's a knight, so he goes by the term Kell Hill. And he has a retinue of 12 soldiers. These are the guards of the estate and of poor Frederick.
Cotton Hill.
Cotton Hill, yes. War veteran of many years past.
I heard he took an arrow to the knee. Oh.
Yes, he did have some leg problems. I think his shins were hacked to bits in one of the last wars, but thankfully a cleric was there in time to save them. They didn't have to remove the shins.
Yeah, so I can only imagine what it would have been like if he had both his lower legs removed.
And what would you do? Just attach his feet to his knees? He would shrink a whole foot. That'd be ridiculous. No self-respecting knight would look like that.
Yes. So I keep watching her, see if I can gain any clues about what this good job means for her.
How would you like to do that?
Trying to see if there's, for now, if there's anything in particular that she seems to get excited about. Or if I don't see anything, I'm going to comment about Frederick. Man, such as Frederick, a wastrel like that, probably affects many lives and never thinks about it.
Most certainly. He is a young man who has never known anything but power and has had every one of his desires and appetites, no matter how gruesome, satiated by the flow of his father's wealth.
Do I feel like it's about her father or about Frederick personally? Kind of read like how.
Oh, it's definitely about Frederick. Yeah.
Did I get anything when you mentioned the gruesome appetites?
Definitely. That she's definitely referring to something specific, but is trying to, not let you know. She's calling on past memories or past knowledge, but trying to not show her connection to it.
It does. Now, I would need to keep everything here secret. I think it'd be even more to the point if I could gain the aid of his staff. Doing this. Imagine a man like that. Appetite. Probably has many that his staff are used to being hidden.
Perhaps.
His death was associated with one of those. Perhaps they would do a lot of the work to conceal evidence of the unsavory. Perhaps the unsavory wouldn't even arouse suspicions if they associated with what he was involved in. Simply work to keep the word quiet.
Let's just say he is the sort of man who will follow any of his interests to the end, no matter how dark they may be. He is probably spending his time in this state because the various houses and their matrons have stopped serving him after some workers never returned home. A young man like this should be removed one way or the other. Just so happens to be advancing our cause. As for his staff, they may know of his ways, of his darker intentions, but I believe those that still work for the family are deeply ingrained. Wouldn't expect any of them to turn on him out of fear of reprisals from his father or his men, or just out of loyalty to those they serve. I thought
they are most likely quite used to covering up.
They may be. They may
think that something happens, but it's just simply a side effect of his darker deeds. They might simply go about covering it up as they have everything.
Is there anything else I can do for you, or any other information or tools I can provide you at this point in time?
This is more than enough. So, how long do I have?
A few months. He'll be at this state for a while, and there are no other priorities on the horizon. So we are working on a few others. the same family. Eventually, we'll need Albrun gone, and probably before we can get rid of Albrun, we'll need to get rid of Olin Furin. But for now, let's just focus on Frederick for now.
All right,
Not
I'm gonna try to, I guess, deception to not react to Olin.
Mm-hmm. Let's see if I can give her a. Oh, it definitely is lower than her passive. Roll a 1. She could roll a 1. It's possible. Here's her. I don't actually have a character sheet for her. I'll do it the old-fashioned way. She most definitely does not roll a 1. In fact, she rolls what's usually on the opposite side of a 1 on a d20. She smiles, clearly seeing that you're interested in Olin, but says no more on the matter.
Okay.
If you need me, I'll be in and around one of these roadside taverns. Let's take a walk. Good luck. She gets up in her messenger garb and heads out into the freezing rain. Just keeps drizzling down on top of everything, and makes her way down the country road.
Okay. Now, I mean, Neal, I hesitate to bring this up but I feel like
yes, it is an iguana on my cup. Yes.
Oh no, I was fine with that.
Oh,
I just feel like this is, we're here on Watsy's channel. We're doing a very professional game. I just saw kind of glaring error on your map, which is not very professional. It feels like a professional would want to know that something was wrong so that he could attend to it.
Please, what is the glaring error on my map?
If you can scroll for chat, like down and then west a bit.
What are we looking for?
Down and to the left.
Okay, there's a lot of down to the left. How far are we going? Going all the way to Nome?
Wickthron Marenta-ish.
Oh, okay. Oh. There's no error on this map. This map is accurate. All names are accurate.
I know you put a lot of work into that, but where Desu is, you wrote Berkshire.
Because Berkshire is the name of this town. It's not named Desu. It never has been named Desu. We're not even in Drekis. We're over in Eridon, on the complete other side of Arcadia. All right? You can take your personal political causes and keep them to yourself, sir. Because that place has always and will always be named Berkshire. Incensed. Not to be confused with Shire Brook, which is a different town, completely unrelated. And also not to be confused with Valesburg, which is another different town that should not be confused. So here we are, near Confluence, Krob. And heading on your way to the Drooper estate, one of their estates, I should say, their countryside estate. It is a cold and miserable day outside.
Where is this estate?
It's in the hills, just above where your token is. It's like at the very base of the hills, so your token's basically at it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Zoom in on my version of it, my own. It's just, well,
misnamed, mislabeled version.
It's just really distracting knowing that mistake is there.
For those of you that have no idea what Rob's talking about, we do this other campaign together often on Saturdays called Shenanigans. And for a while, when we were first running Shenanigans, I hadn't finished making the world and I hadn't finished naming everything. And so these people, these other players of mine, took it upon themselves to name the town Dead Endville Dead End Sausageville East Westerton, or something like that.
Yes. Desu for short.
It's a ludicrous name that has never been canon. And years, 2 years after all of that.
Before, and it became the name.
It's been 2 years, alright? I still won't give it up. This is why I kill those players so often. Go down. Alright. Alright. So you are on your way to the estate? What are you doing? How are you going about this?
Well, I know we've only really got the big settlements here. Mm-hmm. I'm going to head out there. I want to get the lay of the land. Mm-hmm. Are there roads that lead out there? I'm assuming there must be. Is there a small village nearby?
Definitely.
Some place that I can get a room in an inn and use that as an initial base to start investigating.
There is a small village surrounding it's on the south side of the estate, and the farmlands kind of surround the estate a little bit, except for there's a small wooded area nearby as well. The little village is one of those tiny, know-nothing villages, maybe like a population of 100 people at most. And they've all been living on this lord's land for hundreds of years as it's been passed from family to family. They all work directly for the family, working their fields and their land, so that, they have a very close tie to the Drooper family and have for generations. The town is named Goleta. Tiny little nothing town, mostly lemon fields, but, a few other crops here and there. Fantastic weather.
Last center of learning located there, though.
I do, yeah. They've got a lot of good things. They invented ranch dressing there. That's how cool of a place this is.
All right, so I shall travel to Goleta. I'll look for, let's say, the Lemon Tree Inn.
Yep. There it is. It's the only inn in town. It is a single-story building that is slightly leaning to the left. It's a thatch roof, and even in this rainstorm up there, someone is up there trying to fix the thatch because it's a little bit leaky. But you head on in to the Lemon House Inn, the Lemon Tree Inn. Yep. And there's a woman with straw blonde hair standing behind a counter who looks up and looks really excited to see someone coming in. And hi there, welcome to the Lemon Tree Inn. How are you?
I could be better.
Oh my. You sound like you could use some bed rest and tea. Well, we have both things here. Would you like a room for the night? Maybe a couple of nights while we nurse you back to health.
I need to get back on the road as soon as I can.
No, nonsense. Look at this weather. It's miserable. Come on inside. Don't worry about it. At least get out of that miserable rain. And just try and stay away from that table. The thatch up there is a little leaky.
And I pretend to be a bit shaky.
Mm-hmm. She brings you over a cup of lemon tea. It's just, some lemon rinds that have been cut up and a little bit grated and soaked in hot water for a while. It's slightly sour, slightly bitter, but really soothing. Now there, stranger. My name is Minnie. What can I do for you?
This tea is very good, thank you.
Welcome. Our specialty here. You should also try our lemon pies, but wait till later. Sugar's not so good if you've got a sore throat, I hear. Make some good coffee, though, if you'd like some.
Coffee would be good.
Excellent.
Anything warm.
She brings you over a cup of coffee as well. Now there, stranger, what's your name? And what can we do for you?
My name is Alex. I think I need to spend the night here before I continue on my journey.
Of course. Should I call to there's a village down the road a few miles. They have a healer there. Should I call for them?
I have no need for some healer out of some random cottage. I'll be fine. Just need to rest tonight.
It's not plague, is it? Or cholera?
Oh, of course not. I just need to rest tonight.
Sure. Let me set you up. We have one private room and a common room, but at this point, they're both fairly private. Haven't had a guest in a while. Not that, we have poor service here, just quiet, sleepy part of the world that has so few visitors.
Yes, the private room will be fine. I think my chest feels a bit congested. I don't want to keep anybody else up the cough.
She leads you to a very small private room. It's, a little bigger than a storage shed. With a straw bed on the ground and not much else. It's got a little window that looks out to see some lemon orchards.
Is it big enough for me to climb out of, should I need to?
Absolutely.
Right. Thank you. This will definitely do for a night. And do you have something for my cat, Sophie? Cream, perhaps, or...
we can absolutely bring her a saucer of cream. Don't you know, Goleta cows are the very finest cows out there. They produce some of the best milk in the world. They've been exported everywhere, even as far as Berkshire.
I have heard that they send it out even to Desu. That I've heard that your cows are happy cows.
The happiest of cows.
That these happy cows produce better milk than others. Although I hear in Desu they're known for the quality of their milk there as well, almost legendarily.
Let me let you in on a little secret. I don't know where this Desu is because it sounds like a made-up name. But the cows that we've sent across the world, including to Berkshire, all come from Goleta. If their cows are famed, it's only because they come from our stock.
Are you saying that the legendary Bessie is a Goleta cow?
Best kept secret of this town. Actually, she's Bessie the 10th. They keep dying and being kidnapped, so we keep sending them new cows. But enough shenanigans lore. We could do this all day. I don't think most of our viewers have seen any of this.
Well, I think that just means that they should go check out shenanigans.
They should, but you guys really. But we should be murdering people today. I don't want to plug our own stuff too much, but I really like shenanigans. It's a fun show. Anywho. So you're here. You have an inn room for the night. And Minnie and her husband Dave and provide you with drinks and food and all that sort of stuff and give you a nice warm bed while the rain comes down for days and days.
All right. So I'm going to settle in. I again make a show of seeming to be quite sick, but insisting that I'm going to be returning to my journey quite quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't be that sick.
Right. You're just here for one night.
Yes. Like the cream for Sophie?
You get cream for Sophie, yes.
Okay. So I shall settle down here.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody else anywhere in the inn at the moment? That sounds right.
No. For now, it's just you, Minnie, and Dave.
Where is my room in relation to where Minnie and Dave apparently sleep? They sleep like off the kitchen, in the basement, in a room that's close or far from this one?
They have a small building out back. You get the impression that the private room that you're in now used to probably be their room, but then at some point there's like a separate building that got added, and this got turned into a guest room.
Okay.
Perhaps business was good once upon a time. So they've got this very small building. It's basically attached. There's a covered walkway between it and the inn itself. The common room of the inn is frighteningly small. It's basically a 8x10 room with a fireplace and a couple of seats. And then
Okay, well, I'm in my room. I'm not going down to the common room. Do I hear?
all one story, by the way.
Okay. Do the locals gather there to drink?
No, this is just an inn. There's no tavern aspect to this. Yeah.
Is there a tavern in the village? I mean, they've got to get somewhere.
Yeah, there's a bar-ish tavern place called the Mercury, just down the way. Almost burned down in a fire recently, but it's fine. They saved it. It's totally fine. Don't worry about it. You know, Goleta and their fires.
Yeah, so Santa Barbara in jokes we'll do all day, but we can't plug shenanigans.
I just feel bad plugging my own stuff on someone else's channel, you know? Maybe I shouldn't.
All right, well, we'll just keep plugging Santa Barbara then.
That's fine. We can plug Santa Barbara. It doesn't benefit me, and particularly too.
All right, so I'm settled in. This seems like a pretty private place then.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody else is here, and I haven't seen. It seems like Ripley wouldn't already be here.
Right.
So while Sophie is drinking her cream, I'll pull out another one of the copper coins, hold that between my fingers. Think about Alexandra. Say to Sophie, this growing strong and well equipped, working for Uncas here.
Aww.
To pull this off, it probably gives me a certain position.
Aww.
Which is ironic that I cared nothing for Malchus, quickly your architect.
Aww.
Before I knew you, Sophie, I have my own connection with this Rupert family. To make this, well, I would do this job whether the architects willed it or not. I don't care about Malchus. I don't care about any of the gods, but I do care about the order. About might be thinking that paladin woman seemed a person of virtue, seemed a person of goodness. Wondering if defends the order, defends it whether it's good or not. If a troll killed a child, she would have gone out and fought it and considered a heroine. A peasant woman finds evidence of silver in a mine on an estate. The law says that she must tell the Lord, and so she does. Be rewarded? Or does the Lord come in and use order, the law, force people to work in them when they object? Does that Lord gather their children as punishment? Children that worked for years, herded in there before sunup, working till after sundown, not seeing the sun for years until they drop off by one, till only one remains. Would Allie have fought for them, or would she have felt that challenging the Lord would be too much damage to order, and that maintaining the social order with lords above and laws misused, that would be more damaging to challenge those? Let those children. So he killed a dozen ogres. That's why he had to. People like her that make others believe in order. They see her championing it. That is why we're such a good partner. No order between us. We're simply two companions. Two equals. If you decide you don't like this arrangement, I have no doubt that you would disappear and I'd never see you again. Have our own quality, our own reason for staying. I'll pick her up and start petting her. As long as we treat each other with due respect, kindness, the bond remains. No need for a law to enforce that. Tonight we'll begin our reconnaissance.
Okay. It is probably pretty late in the day when you show up anyway. So we can skip on to after the sun goes down.
Yeah, I need to keep up my guys by staying out of the public eye anyway.
Mm-hmm.
No. And after the sun goes down, again, I'll take a short nap. I'll drink a lot so that I get woken up. The chamber pot.
Mm-hmm.
Drink a lot of water.
Mm-hmm.
In the middle of the night, and when I do wake up, I'm going to make my first reconnaissance.
Okay, where are you reconnaissancing?
How far up is the estate?
It's about 1.5 miles up the muddy road.
All right, not too bad.
No, but in the dark, in the night, the rain and the mud, be a long plunge.
It won't be fun, but I'll have my thoughts of the Drooper family to form. So I'm going to head on up. And once I see signs that I'm getting close to the estate, I'll move off the road, which will be an even bigger sludge. Even though it's dark, I'll start to be careful and move from cover to cover off the road.
Mm-hmm.
See the estate.
You see the estate from miles away because it is a multi-story building and there are candles or torches or lanterns lit on the inside, and it kind of acts as a beacon guiding you in that direction. Just kind of these few points of light off, slightly high up in the distance, and the road always winding slowly in that direction. Despite the rain clouds overhead, there's a full moon behind them, and they're thin in some areas, giving you just enough light to sort of see by so you don't break a leg and fall into a ditch and die, leaving Sophie alone and homeless. Dark really quickly somehow. And you...
Our assassination show, imagine.
Well, but this time it was almost an animal that was harmed. Clearly more devastating than loss of human life.
Yes. So I'm trying to get the lay of the land, approaches to the estate versus it's surrounded by cropland, is it or woods, or I mean, I'm guessing if I can see the estate then it's not woods.
Right, so you have some orchards on either side of the main road, which is just kind of like a dirty, fairly wide road that heads towards the estate. You can see years of wagon ruts have left, or wheels of wagons have left large ruts in the ground heading up this way. As you get closer, you can see that there is a gate across the front of the road with hedges on either side that extend. And beyond that is at least a 3 or 4 story building.
Okay.
It's you can see 4 levels of windows, but the first floor is sort of raised up also. So it's like the height of a 5-story building, but only with 4 stories on it. And there are very large grounds surrounding it. It's probably sitting on a couple of square miles. As you get close to that gate, you can see the other side of the gate has an actual cobblestone paved road that leads all the way up and in, with decorative stones on either side and well-manicured bushes. They've got to have some groundskeepers and caretakers of the land to keep this estate looking so nice.
Yeah, trying to get a sense of outbuildings. The stables are obviously one outbuilding.
Sure.
What other outbuildings there are?
Why don't you make me a perception check while you sort of walk around the perimeter and climb over hedges and poke your head in between things and try and get a lay of the land here. It's a fairly large property.
All right. Well, I'm circling it first before I get on.
Right.
Get into the weeds. I've recently gotten much better at perceiving things.
10.
Well, think how much worse it could have been.
Yeah, it's dark and it's rainy right now, so you're not really getting much here.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll need to come back when it's better.
Or a wall around the estate?
There seems to be there's that gate at the front road, and then there's hedges on either side that run for quite a ways. And the hedges are sort of acting as a wall. There's not an actual fence built in, but they're prickly and brambly, and they've got those weak branches on the outside that make climbing them so hard because everything falls under your weight, and it's just a messy thing to try and climb through. Not impossible, but it would be slow, and in the light of day would be obvious.
What about going under hedges?
Hole? Like the Tunnel King?
Well, I'm just thinking down at the base of hedges. I mean, there might be animals that have already kind of, made their way, found little ways between hedges. Not that I could really find them in the dark, I suppose.
Yeah.
That might be the best way. I'm sure there's some hounds or things that have already done some of that work.
Yeah. Probably. Might not be able to find them in the rain, especially with that 10 on the perception check. But it's possible that maybe you could find something like that somewhere.
All right. So in general, I'm trying to get a sense of, are there outbuildings that seem like servants' quarters? And just to start getting an idea, maybe the servants stay in the state building itself.
Yeah, I think with your 10 on your perception check, it's just too dark and stormy, and there aren't any lights on any outbuildings if they exist, so you can't make sign of them. They're too deep in the property. It's just too dark.
All right. Well, the storm should cover my tracks for me. I'll head back to the inn before I get sick for real.
Okay. You head on back, and you can slip back into your room at the Lemon Tree Inn before the sun comes up. Have a nice night's night.
And I'll sleep in as someone who's sick might, to make up for my lost rest.
Oh. In the morning, the rain has cleared and stopped. Fresh, clean day. Smell of freshly wet dirt in the air. Some birds chirping. It's too happy. It's too nice and warm and blessed. This good land here is just waiting for someone to come and stir it up.
Yes. So I guess I'll head still being a bit sick, but not quite as bad. Well, I mean, I've got to go out and eat. I'll head over to the Mercury to see what food can be found there around noon.
Yeah. They've got a couple of older folks that can't work the fields anymore who are in there playing some soft music with a wash bin and a one-string guitar. Not the best music, but hey, it's local. It's cool. They can serve you some fish and chips that, fish caught yesterday, chips made today. Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna take my meal. I'll stay fairly simple because I don't want to seem like a elitist jerk or something to the locals.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna try to subtly engage them in conversation. I'll ask them some questions. I'll comment about what good land it is out here.
Mm-hmm.
Ask how the lemon crops are doing and how we don't have lemons out where I come from, and being curious. And eventually, what I'm going to try to do is to start to get a feel for what they have to say. I was mentioning how a place like this, they must have a very a very, very good Lord who really looks out for them. I mentioned, how in the village that I come from, make up some thing about how the Lord, there was a scandal where he was sleeping with, forcing himself on one of the peasants' wives.
Oh my, that sounds awful. No, Alburn Drooper's a good man. His family has been good to us for generations. They've got one of their own private estates nearby, actually. It's quite nice, Oftentimes they'll throw parties, which keeps the economy flowing here. Lots of importing of all sorts of goods, and anything that isn't used in the party is usually just passed down to us villagers when they leave town. No sense in letting it go to waste in big old dusty estate. Troopers are good people.
I'm going to try to do an insight check to see if he really believes that.
Yeah, this guy here at the Mercury seems to honestly believe this. Now, he might not be too close with Frederick, but he seems to have a strong respect for Alburn and Alburn's family.
Okay. Are there any women here?
Absolutely. Yep. This gentleman's wife is beside him. You're probably talking to the both of them, actually.
I'm trying to get a sense when he says all that, or when I tell my little story about the Lord forcing himself.
Yeah, she looks horrified when you tell the story of whatever local lord that you're from forcing himself on someone. She looks taken back and aghast.
All right, I'm trying to get a sense from other women in the room if any of them. I mean, it seems like this woman's generally like, "Oh my God, how could that happen?" Whereas, if maybe others have their own story there to tell of Frederick, especially if there's more attractive ones that might attract Frederick's attention.
Yeah, you can chat with these people over the course of the day, or of a few hours or whatever. And everyone here seems to be more or less of the same mind. They have very, very few actual direct dealings with the nobles. They just kind of work the land and send supplies up as needed and get gifts in return. None of them seem to have any notion of the darker side of this family. But they're just peasants, you know, they only see what's directly in front of their face. They have no idea about the greater goings-on. And as far as they can see, the Drooper family's nice. Great, they take care of us.
Well, maybe Frederick doesn't prey on the local.
Yeah.
I guess I'll go back, spend some time with Sophie, and then come back here for dinner, where I'm guessing by dinner time there'll be people that, not just people who can't work in fields, but people who finish their time in the fields, or a lot more of a cross-section of people.
Yep.
Right.
You can wait for a better cross-section of people and do the same thing, ask about and everything.
Yeah, and I'm going to try to engage one of the more attractive women that might get Frederick's attention. And again, sharing the story. My thought was that, you know, that people always want to, oh, well, you had an earthquake? Well, we had 3 tornadoes that happened at once. You know,
Right.
And I'll see if I get any reaction from some of the women that I think might get his attention.
And they have no reaction whatsoever. It seems they all have this high regard for the family.
Okay.
Yeah, what are you thinking about that? Because you've heard from a trusted confidant that Frederick here has had some dark tendencies and might be culpable in murder, or at least accidental homicide.
Well, I'm wondering if she is playing me for some reason. If she maybe knows that I would have reason. And for some reason is playing some sort of game with me.
You even trust your handler now?
Oh, well, I mean, I never did. She sent me against the last person that she had a long established relationship with from my very first day.
That's true. Your very first mission was to kill your predecessor, who she worked closely with.
Yeah, I mean, for all I know, she's got somebody else that she's already has in mind to send after me should she decide that I need to be here.
Okay.
They're killing some poor baker in Desu or something.
Where? What? What's a Desu?
Maybe she's sending them after the innkeeper there.
Innkeeper in Berkshire? That's a terrible idea. Don't do that. I hear Desmond the Dashing is quite a powerful NPC with extreme plot armor. Anywho, it's been a day now. You've talked to the locals. Pretty much everyone in town that you've spoken to, actually everyone in town that you've spoken to, pretty much everyone in town seems to have a high regard for this family here.
Interesting.
Yeah, you've seen the estate at night, and you know it's at least 3 stories tall, about 4 stories, about 5 stories tall with 4 floors. And the next day you can go out and walk up to the estate in the daylight or around it, or what's the plan?
In the day, again, I'm still acting a bit weak. While anytime I see Minnie insisting that, no, well, maybe I should build up my strength a little bit, go for a walk and see if I'm ready to start traveling again. But I'm sure, always, I'm sure the next day that I'll be fine. And I'll go for a walk, just as if I'm going for a walk and I've heard about this estate.
Sure.
About that. So I decided to go for a walk and check it out. And I'm not making any effort to especially feel myself. I am going to, once I've gotten out of town and before I really get into the estate lands, I'll find a place to change my appearance.
You can do so.
And then I'll walk towards the estates and just play the role of someone who was told how wonderful this place is and goes to check it out.
Sure. As you come up the main road, which is still a bit muddy from last night's downpour, you see an elderly gentleman raking up old leaves by the gate on the other side, and he stops as you come meandering around, taking a look at the area, and leans heavily on the gate and looks out at you.
A good day. I'll take a swig of my wine and wine skin and offer it to him.
He'll reach the bars and take the wine skin from you, take a sip and hand it back to you. Good day. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. I was told about this estate back in Goleta. I decided to go for a walk and check it out. It's really quite beautiful. I didn't think it would be quite so nice out here in the middle of nowhere.
Some of the finest places in the world are out in the middle of nowhere, away from all those big city folk.
Yeah, I'd always heard that there wasn't much here in the central coast between Blue Cliff and High Castle. It was just emptiness. That's I found myself educated.
They don't call it the good land for no reason.
Can I ask, were those orchards all lemons? Are there avocado trees or anything?
There are some avocados and some limes and a few oranges, yes. But lemons are the export we're known for. Most of the lemons in Cliff County come from Goleta.
And I start asking questions. I pay attention to things that he seems to liven up about, or things that he seems interested in, and ask him more questions about those.
Yeah, he's not too talkative, actually. You'll find that he does introduce himself. His name is Mr. Dudley. He is one of the groundskeepers here. His wife, Mrs. Dudley, is the other major groundskeeper. They live on the estate in a small little cottage down the way by the stables with the groom, a Mr. James.
Okay, I try to gauge things like if he's the groundskeeper, commenting on, if there's like something particularly nice about the rose beds and how he managed to get that effect with the roses. Or whatever. The things that clearly he put a lot of work into and is probably proud of. And
sure. You notice Mr. Dudley, when you start talking about the rose bushes and everything, stops and regards you carefully for a second, as if he's second guessing your motives for questioning these things, but shrugs it off and goes along with it. Talks about the rose bushes.
Deception to...
No, you totally can. I'm just saying he failed his insight check on you pretty badly.
Okay.
Is what I'm what I'm trying to dramatically hint at. Yeah.
Yes, because when people start asking about rose bushes, it's natural to assume something sinister is their true motive.
Right. That does seem a little bit odd that he might assume something sinister or give you a second look. It does strike you as a bit weird that he might do that, but he did it anyway. But after judging you to be a regular character, he'll actually open the gate and let you in and kind of show you some, if you think these rose bushes are good, wait till you see the ones up the road a little ways. I don't think his lordship is awake yet, so we'll have to be quick. Come on.
Okay,
and
I
he'll
go do so.
take you on in to the grounds here. Let's bring...
I'm looking around, marveling at things, especially at stuff that seems like is his work.
Mm-hmm.
Bushes and stuff, but memorizing and doing as best I can to get the lay of the land.
Right. So Mr. Dudley will take you on a quick stroll from the front gate to the hedges that mark the beginning of the estate property. He'll stop you about here and say, well, we shouldn't go any further. That's definitely probably off limits for visitors.
Right. You don't want to get in trouble here.
Right. And he'll show you the various plants and bushes and how they do all this and that. And you can see forward to the estate itself and the big double doors that are open on either side that lead up these steps with wonderful red carpets that have been rolled out on it since the last rain and into the big room up there. You can see that there's balconies on the third floor, like right here and here are, I think they're third floor balconies. Yes, third floor balconies. But because if we look carefully, there's like this staircase right here and right up here, and there's also some more staircases inside. So the whole first floor, really, except for this initial room right here, is up about 8 or 10 feet. I would just say 10 feet for ease of math. So the first floor is 10 feet off the ground, except for the atrium, and the second floor is 20 feet, and the third floor is 30 feet off the ground, and the fourth floor is 40 feet off the ground. So the third floor, at 30 feet up, are balconies. And then I guess these right here are other small balconies that are about 10 feet off the ground.
Okay.
You can see where I'm pointing? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he will turn around and bring you back down the main road ways. The main road continues off this map, and at a certain point there is a path to the left, a dirt path to the left that he points down and says, well, there's the stables, and that's where me and the missus live, and poor old James. Anywho, the sun is getting pretty high up there. I should probably get back to work. But what'd you just say there, sir?
Oh, you said poor old James? There's something wrong with him? Deal?
No. He's just outlived his wife and his children, and his few
never outlived his children.
Terrible thing. He's got just the one granddaughter, but she moved off to the big city and hasn't been back in maybe 10 years now?
Oh, what a shame.
Mm-hmm. He's a lonely old man, with just the horses to care for. I feel sorry for him sometimes. The wife and I try and have him over for dinner twice a week, but that dour attitude of his can really... I don't know why I'm telling you all of this, but it can really, ruin the mood. Poor old man.
Shame.
Yeah.
Well, you're a kind soul to look out for him that way.
Oh, us folk have to take care of each other. No. We don't care for each other. Who will help us?
True. Cruel world. It takes kind people to ease our way through it.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of which, and I'll offer him more of my wine, I appreciate you letting me see your handiwork here. You are an artist.
Thank you. What are you doing in town?
I was on my way to deliver a message up to Blue Cliff, and I stayed here at the inn. I kept hearing how amazing the estate was, and I thought before I continued on, I would have a look at it. I have no particular rush for my message.
Mm-hmm.
I look a little guilty at that and give him a little, you know how it is. Take a little bit of extra time for yourself.
He doesn't give you a friendly look at that. He gives you more of a look like, really? You're slacking off on the job? And looks at the wineskin at your side, and you can see some judgment on his face as his opinion of you slowly shifting.
I'd rather have him think that I'm a poor messenger than a skilled assassin.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, well, I thank him again, and I'll head off. I said, well, I should be on my way then to get my work done.
All right. He lets you out the gate, locks it behind you, and heads off to prepare for the grounds.
All right, and I will. Is there cover if I want to circumnavigate the outside of the estate, kind of going around the hedges?
The hedges are cover.
Yeah, but for people to see from outside the estate.
Oh, from other Goodland people to see you?
Yeah. I mean, are there any out here? I don't know.
Yeah, there's these lemon orchards that surround the estate, and they'll give you some cover, and I guess it's possible that somebody could be positioned between the trees at some point that you're walking and spot you, but it would be unlikely, and they would have to look down between the furrows in the 3 seconds that it took you to walk between trees. So it's probably good,
Okay.
Just don't roll a 1 on a d20, and you'll be fine.
All right, so I'm going to circumnavigate the estate, as I said, looking for if there are any places where, say, some fox or something has already started, done some of the job of getting
right
under the hedge, or if there's a place where the hedges are a little bit sparse along the bottom, and it would be a little easier to climb under them.
Sure. You do come across a small creek that comes out from the estate and has managed to wear itself a bit of a rut underneath one of the hedges and fences areas. To go through it, you'd have to get a little bit wet and dirty, but you could make it to the other side without too much problem. You just gotta kind of get in the creek and crawl up it.
I'll take very careful note of this and landmarks that I can see. I know it can be difficult to find that in the dark. Mm-hmm. I look for a couple landmarks to guide.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And anything else I notice on circumnavigating this?
No, you haven't noticed anyone else, and it doesn't seem that anyone else has noticed you. But we're we're a little over an hour into our session, so we're going to take our first break right here. And I think when we come back, we're going to see you go into the estate, and we'll figure out what you do on the other side of it. So we'll see you on the other side of our break. Bye-bye. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Assassin. So, Assassin, you found that creek. Are you gonna crawl through it and head on into the grounds of the estate?
Not in the daylight right now.
Of course not.
I return this evening. When I was at the tavern for dinner, did it seem like anyone from the estate came out to the tavern to get a drink or dinner or anything like that, or was it all people? Goleta?
Yeah, you actually noticed on towards the later part of the evening, a group of folks came on in. They all came together dressed in servants' clothes. There was 2 young women accompanied by 2 older gentlemen, all dressed in that same sort of like servant's garb. And looking around Goleta, there ain't a lot of people here who would have servants. In fact, there's only one house in all of Goleta that could possibly have servants.
This estate? Did you say the estate was the Bakara?
I did not say it was the Bakar. The estate itself doesn't have a name.
Oh, okay.
Although it could, but it's not the Bakara. No, we'll call it the Downton Estate or something like that.
All right. And I'm assuming that you would have told me if Dudley was one of the older gentlemen that escorted the women in last.
Right, that was not Dudley.
Seemed like he would go into town.
He's not the sort of going into town sort of fellow. Mr. and Mrs. Dudley tend to just stay on the grounds and keep out of their way, and they're fairly conservative in their approach to many things. I'm not speaking politically, but, happy to give, be hospitable, but you should, let's not get too fancy, let's not get too rowdy.
Fun just leads to nonsense.
Right, the life shouldn't be all exciting. It should be caring for each other at home and, a good cup of tea. That's what life's about, is a good cup of tea and some peace and quiet. That sort of conservative is what I'm talking about.
All right. So tonight then, I'll return for dinner and I'll stay and especially till I think it's about time when the servants would knock off and time that they came out before.
Yeah.
I will stay there and I will see who comes out.
So you're hanging out at the Mercury when you see, let's roll some dice here. Today you see 6 servants coming on in. You've got, it looks like 2 young men and 4 young women are all coming down from the main road and pop into the Mercury together. By their attire, you can tell that there are 2 valets, 2 ladies' maids, and 2 just general servants.
Ladies.
Mm-hmm.
Ladies. They're the I would think.
I don't think you've heard anything to...
Well, Frederick isn't married.
Definitely not married.
If other people are trying to stay away from him, he probably doesn't have guests. Anyways, I will try to engage them.
Sure. Yeah. How would you like to go about engaging them in conversation?
I'll talk about how I've heard that they have avocados there, and I've never had an avocado before.
You've never had an avocado before, says one of the young valets. Really?
No, we simply don't have them.
My God, you've missed out on so much. Well, let me tell you, if you're gonna get yourself an avocado, you need to find the Hass avocados. Don't you go looking for any bacon avocados. I know that by their name they sound delicious. They're not. They're watery pieces of trash. You find yourself a good Hass avocado. Wait till it's just a little soft. Cut it open, stir it up, add a little bit of salt, smear it across your toast. Oh my god. Or on a bagel with some scrambled eggs mixed with some green onions. Oh man.
So the way you were talking about preparing it, is that what's called guacam guacam?
Oh, guacamole. Yes, we love the guacamole here. It's so good. Yes.
That's how you say it.
Guacamole, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? I mean, I keep hearing it can't be as good as everybody says it.
It depends on who makes it. You know, those Southerners make it. It ain't that good. Us Northerners make it. Oh, so good. It's probably because we get those Hass avocados and not the bacon avocados that are so routinely found near the avocado jungle of death.
I try to get conversation going, basically get in with their group using avocado talk and get into their conversation, start asking them questions about themselves, but in a conversational way, just asking non-important questions.
Right. This is
just to get people, just to oil the conversation until I can start getting a better sense of things.
To all you players out there, this is how you get your information. You know what buttons that you can push on your DM, and you just push them, right? And Rob knows all he's got to say is something about avocados and guacamole, and I'll tell him whatever he wants. So get to know your DM's weaknesses, kids. So they bring you into the conversation. The two young valets are named Jimmy and Bobby. The two young ladies' maids are Fiona and Bretta. And the two just other servants are Joan and Margaret. And the four of them work at the estate, and they are pretty casual. They're chatting about things. They mention that there is a party coming up. And so the estate is like fully manned, and everyone's out here getting it ready for the party. It's going to be, 4 days of youthful nobles having a good time. There should be even a band coming in for it at some point. And shipment should start arriving of wine and food and goods for the party. The estate is firing on all cylinders in preparation.
I heard there was a local man who was quite a musician. I believe he started as a gardener around maybe at that very estate, at Spencer.
A Spencer?
Spencer the gardener, is that a locally known musician?
Not that I'm aware of, but I don't get out of the estate very much, so there's a lot of local issues that I probably am completely unaware of.
Ah, okay.
But a lot of great musicians come from the Goodland, of course.
Yeah, I heard there was another one. John, son of Jack. John Jackson, who...
Oh, yes.
Here.
Yes, John Jackson, famous musician. Really simple stuff, but it speaks to many, many people. His wife is a school teacher, taught my kids English class, a common class. Yep. Some big bands have come up from here too.
Yes, I heard there was one.
The Voodoo Mamas? They're from here. And there's that one big pop singer. What's her name? Yeah, everyone knows her. She's from here as well. A lot of good things come out of this part of the world. Yet it remains relatively unknown.
Really good land.
It's a good land.
Yes, so engage the lady's maids. They go, "Oh, that must be such difficult work. I can imagine noble women must be so demanding in particular about everything."
Well, when it's the party of the decade, everything has to be quite right, but we're all up to date on the very finest and most modern hairstyles from Akuba and Drekis and Matava. Matavan hairstyles are all the rage these days. So we are ready to have the ladies topped to the nines. In fact, the valets are a little out of date with their... Don't tell them, but they're trying to do some new suits, and the new suits are not working. They're trying to make a Cuban style collars for the gentlemen guests, but their stitching's not up to snuff, and they're making a fool of themselves.
That's a Cuban style. I hear these days it's all about that new designer, Renato.
Oh, he is... Well, don't tell anyone I told you, but I met him once upon a time. He was wearing this fantastic perfume, had this vaguely spicy scent to it. And let's just say that's not all about Mr. Vasquez that was quite so spicy.
I hear he killed a dragon.
I've heard many things. I can't believe half of them, and the other half are probably enhanced.
And I try to get so in conversing with them, I try to hear more about different hairstyles and things, and I'm trying to steer it to hearing what women might be at the estate now. Are they busy doing hairstyles for people now?
Well, no, the guests haven't arrived yet. We've just been practicing on each other back and forth.
Oh, okay. So they don't have there's no women that they need to work on right now, or to
No. Just now at the estate, it's just his lordship and the servants and the guards. The guests don't arrive for another week or two. 10 days? 10 days.
All right. When I try a couple times mentioning Frederick by name and see if then I'm trying to gauge their response, what their feelings towards him seem to be.
Get the impression that he's just like he's the noble, they're the servants, and it's all fine. They don't seem to have any strong negative feelings towards him that they show here.
All right, I'll I'll talk about how that must be good to have a good lord like that, and I'll try the story about that I've been telling about the lord who forced himself on a local peasant's woman in my village.
They look horrified. Like, certainly someone has brought the man to justice, though, right? He wasn't allowed to get away with something like that. The good queen wouldn't stand for it.
What peasant can bring his case before the queen?
Well, surely that lord's lord. I mean, right? Who? What? If they were a lord, their baron should have been told, or if they were a baron, their count should have been told. If they were a count, the queen should have been told, or something like that. These things cannot come to stand.
The word of a peasant over one of his nobles.
Oh, well, that's just terrible. Just terrible. That sort of thing doesn't... It's not...
With me. Maybe she knows more about me than I think she does. And she's playing some mind game with me. What and why?
Do you think that maybe this kid's not all that bad after... I say kid, but he's in his 20s. He's like 24. Basically a kid. Do you think that maybe this kid is not all that bad after all?
Well, that estate out there is built on the deaths of the other kids that worked in the mines with me, so
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not putting him off as innocent, but I'm thinking that maybe she has played things up. I don't know. It seems like something pretty specific. She hasn't disparaged any of these other targets so far, but she's done this one that had some personal connections.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing I can put my finger on yet, but I need to pay attention.
Okay.
Be wary.
Okay.
I try to engage, get some stories about their lord. About hearing about this Lord Frederick that's there. Asking Frederick is. I thought the Lord of High Castle's name was Alberon.
Oh yes, this is his son and heir, Frederick Dudley. Not Dudley. Drooper. The Dudleys are the caretakers of the estate. My mistake. Frederick Drooper. He's a cheeky young chap. Likes the good, finer things in life. We're throwing a 4-day party for his friends. He and his friends, all 20 of them. One of those newer minded youths who, if there's only 6 guest rooms in the estate, it doesn't matter. You bring all 20 of your friends and just shove them into whatever nook and cranny you can find, and let the social rules about how many people you can fit into a single room go to the wind. It's a new generation of kids, not so concerned about looking formal or doing the proper noble thing. They're just looking to have an exciting time, and it's exciting to work with such people. I don't know if it's a good idea in the long run, but it's always fun to throw a party with them.
These young people in their avocado toast.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Ridiculous.
I'm trying to get insight. Is this just about they don't do things the proper way, or if there's anything else going on here as we talk about Frederick? And I'm watching other people, others who are staying silent.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's meaning in this silence.
No. They're not really staying that silent. They're chatting. There's 6 of them, 1 of you, 7 people. The conversation easily breaks into 2 or 3 subgroups constantly, and coming back together and breaking apart. It just seems like he's a really boisterous young lad who likes to have a good time and eschews responsibility and doesn't really care if he's following the proper tradition with regards to things like, you shouldn't be having a 4-day garden party in the middle of summer because of this weird social rule. And he's like, forget that. I just want to have a party with my friends for 4 days. So I spend my family's money and throw a giant party, All
right.
Sort of a irresponsible young lad.
I try to find out, about the friends that are coming. Are there any big names there? Just to I figure they seem to be interested in that. Get interest, and just in case there's anything that seems significant about it.
You don't recognize any of the names of nobles that are coming, but it appears to be a crowd of other landed youth or children of landed nobles. Bunch of men, bunch of women, all getting together to drink and ride horses and play lawn darts and croquet. Croquet? Is that the name of the game? Yeah. They might crochet too. I don't know. It's that sort of party.
Whoa, those millennials and their crochet.
I know. Knitting parties are all the fad now. Sewing circles are making a huge comeback.
All right. I will try to steer the conversation. I want to hear about, and I'll do this subtly and take my time about it.
Mm-hmm.
If if Frederick is like a particular horseman, if he really likes to ride. Hear about all these young nobles that they're into fast horses, stuff like that. Is he like one of those?
Oh yeah, they love their riding. They'll often take off for 6 hours at a time and push the horses to their limit. And we've only got the one groom, and he's going to be wildly overworked throughout this party, having to care for 10 horses. It'll be a nightmare.
And and I try to find out if he's got like a particular horse that he really likes, is particularly fast.
Well, Frederick has just the one horse, and his friends and associates will be bringing their own horses. Although our stables will only accommodate up to 10, I believe. Is it 12? Is it 10? They won't accommodate all the horses, but so there's only going to be so many here, I should say.
And I'll try to find out if he just rides around the estate, if he goes riding out into the...
They tend to go riding out into the hills.
All right.
Yeah, 10 horses is what they can accommodate. There will be 10 horses total. And 20 guests plus Frederick for 21 people. Or 21 nobles, and I don't know if you can get a servant count, but yeah.
A riding accident.
Could be if you could get, not if he's with other people.
Yeah.
Plus the horse throws him somehow?
The horse, say, was, riding into good gallop, and some sort of rottish thing was floating in midair close to the ground.
Oh my.
And it was immovable.
And the horse ran into it.
Yeah.
Well, how much damage does getting flung from a horse do? Probably like D6? 6 falling damage, right?
Something like that. Isn't he just a normal person?
He's a normal person, so his HP... He's a zeroth level party boy, the level in class here. So he's probably got at 8 HP if he's got average con. If he's got above average, it's probably a little more. Below average con, probably a little less.
Well, it's hard to tell if somebody's got a broken neck, if it's from the fall or if out of the neck break.
Right, yeah. So a riding accident could provide great cover, but as someone getting thrown from their horse is generally unlikely to be killed, but it could serve as cover for an actual killing. Yeah,
And it does happen.
It does happen, yeah, but you need to find a way to crit the dice, which isn't impossible, but can be done.
Well, as far as being a believable story, especially
Definitely.
when alcohol is involved.
Super believable.
All right, and maybe I could put some ink and parchment there, make it look like he was texting.
Like he was writing while riding. Texting and riding your horse at the same time.
Eating avocado toast.
Mm-hmm. Some toast landing avocado side down nearby.
Yeah.
Letter and some paper. Maybe there can be like a small group of actors nearby running alongside, trying to continue to, put on a play for the moving man.
Yeah, so...
All the distractions.
All right, and when is this party happening?
They said in a week and a half, so like 10 days from now.
All right. So I don't have to take out James if I can pull this off. James, he's on. Doesn't sound like he's really leaving the estate.
Yeah.
Good to get a sense of the riding schedule. And there's a certain suspiciousness if I become the groom and then I disappear right after.
Mm-hmm.
Something bad happens.
That's true.
So I definitely buy rounds for these get on their good side.
Yeah.
They'll want to see me again should they come out.
Yeah. And what do you tell them your name is when they ask it?
Alex.
Alex.
And all right, so the next day, is it
And next?
possible to get paint? And if not paint, because I know there's just a small little village, some green cloth.
It might be difficult to find either of these things in this village, but that is what Ripley's for. You can tell her what you need, and she'll make a run to somewhere obscure and bring it back for you.
But even green cloth would be hard to come by.
Yeah, I mean, Fleet is a small town here. We're talking like 100 people. There's not much in the way of merchants. Usually people have to go into a larger town nearby to get any supplies. Really, the only things sold here would be like restaurants and ale. So the tavern and the inn are basically the two businesses. Everything else is farmland. And I guess there's probably like a blacksmith who's a part-time blacksmith, part-time farmer who will fix things for people in the area. But you wouldn't want him to make anything for you. Maybe just repair a bent nail or an awkwardly, hammer on a shoe or something.
Any green clothing hanging off a laundry line at some point?
Yeah, totally.
All right. Does it seem like I could possibly swipe something like that? I'm just looking for green cloth to wrap a movable rod to sort of camouflage it.
Yeah, you can swipe someone's underwear from a clothesline.
All right. And I'll loosen a couple of little clips so it looks like, oh yeah, I guess some of the laundry kind of was like the clip was clipped well and
blew away, or
just blew away. Who knows where it went? Maybe a dog stole it. Who knows?
Yeah.
All right, so I'll do that, and just so I'm ready in case an opportunity comes up. And I am going to go out for a hike around the estate a little bit further out, and I'm looking for any sort of riding trails.
Sure. So you're walking around the estate on the outside. Night. I'll find it. Yeah, you can walk around the estate, and up in those hills, you can easily find riding trails or walking trails, but you can see the shoe prints of the horses there, so they're definitely riding trails. There's quite a few of them.
All right, I try to trace them back to see if there's, if they branch out, if there's sort of like one riding trail that someone would take out of the estate, and then that, then maybe a little bit a quarter of a mile out,
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah. It'll take a while to connect the trails and find where they lead, because the horse prints go in all the directions all the time, and it takes probably the better part of the day to trace all of the riding trails out and find that they do come from a single gate into the estate on the west side of the estate, the northwest side of the estate. And from that the area where all those trails lead in through a gate. You can see the farmhouse that would be where the stable is. I guess it's not a farmhouse. The barn where the stable would be, and it looks like there's a few buildings past that. One of them on a slight raise, and they're not too far from the proper estate. You could see these are definitely the same buildings that you saw when you were walking around with Mr. Dudley.
Okay. And all right, I am going to start looking for Ripley.
Sure, you find Ripley at one of those other tea houses or shops alongside the road, a few miles back. Hello?
I say I'll need to acquire some things, and unfortunately, as good a land as Goleta is, it seems to not have much of a shopping district.
Most definitely true. Small town like that, not a lot in the way of shopping.
Yes, I'd like to get a fine wineskin such as a noble might have, filled with fine, strong drink such as a noble might drink, but especially strong drink.
She nods.
Something that might get a noble so drunk that he isn't paying attention to where he guides his horse.
Can do. Can easily do. I'll have it for you tomorrow. Anything else I can get for you?
Hopefully that shall be enough.
Excellent. If there's nothing else, she'll just go.
I'll say, actually, one more thing might be good. I've never tried these, but I've heard that there are arrowheads which are blunt rather than piercing, which is simply they're not as effective as piercing arrows, but they are blunted, more of a lead weight on the end, or a weight, and would not pierce the skin.
Blunted arrows. I'm not familiar with these. Can you describe them to me in more detail?
Well, should I need to assist someone in falling off their horse, but I don't want, an arrow, something that might do some harm or, leave a bruise, but not an arrow wound.
What about some bolas? That work? Or maybe a man catcher? Man catcher could be easy to come by.
Bolas might be good. I was hoping for something longer range that I could do with arrow. But I need longer range.
I could go get some. I could get some blunted arrows made if you think that would help you out.
That could be useful. I'm just thinking that gives me range to make multiple attempts against somebody on a horseback.
Sure, I can get you a set of bolas and 10 blunted arrows, and you said
a noble's wineskin and
noble wineskin with hard.
Very strong.
Right, will do.
That would be wonderful.
Have you set eyes upon the young lord yet?
I've talked to many people, but not him, in fact. Been gathering information.
Good. Keep it up. And she takes off.
and I'll spend the day. I'm gonna find a place near that choke point to watch the trails, like hide myself in the woods here. Is it a wooded area? I guess I'm just like assuming that things are woods.
Yeah, the trails go through the hills, which are often tree covered, and sort of woody. And if we bring the map back, that's not the map. This is. Actually, we need the other map.
You're gonna have to zoom in really tight.
Yeah. We can see that to the west slightly, there's a little bit of a wood over here, a few miles away. That's more general foresty area and a little less hilly. So the riding trails of the estate, if we can make this show up at all, kind of go relatively this way and this way. And then another one branches off and comes down to the plains. Of course, they don't extend this far on the map, and I can't really get us to zoom in too much more. But it's, one that heads north. Whoops, wrong spot. One that heads north through the hills, one that heads roughly west and a little bit south to a forest, and then one that heads mostly south to sort of open plains where you can flat out run as fast as you can. So those are the three main trails off which other little trails will branch.
All right. So today will be a day of patience. I'll pack a lunch, and I'll go find a area overlooking the estate right before the it branches off, or the trails branches off, and I'm gonna watch. I want to find out if, just seeing when he goes riding. I think there might spend a few days, see if he does a morning ride every day, or sometimes, or
he doesn't. No. In fact, you don't see him out there how many days are you spending out there watching?
I figure it'll take her a while to get all this stuff, so I'll spend 2 days first year.
Sure. Neither of those days do you see him ride, and you can even find a an vantage point in the hills that will let you to look in on the estate grounds. And you can see the Dudleys walking around, caring for the outside. You can see the various servants changing the linens and washing everything. You can see people bringing in firewood. Wagons roll through the front gates with various supplies from time to time. You don't once see anyone step outside that would remotely possibly be a noble. Unless the noble guy is so new age that he wears servant's clothes, which he probably doesn't. He hasn't even left the house in 2 days that you've been watching this place. Hasn't set foot in the sun.
That's odd. Well, I'll keep having dinner and trying to meet up with servants, and who might come out to the Mercury, and try to have conversations and see if I can get them to get to the habits of nobles. They all have such odd habits.
Okay. I'm not sure what exactly you're looking for. What can I do for you?
Well, I'll talk about how the noble of my village was always out hunting. How much he loved hunting boars. And other season it would be deer. And, he was hardly ever inside the under his own roof. He would often go on extended hunting parties, spend days out. That was the one thing about him, is that he was often gone.
Yeah, the people that you're talking to go along with the conversation, but they don't seem to be adding too much. Now, you've chatted with these people a few times, and the conversation often comes around to what your lords have been up to, and they're kind of getting that look like, oh, this is the guy that's always bitching about the nobles in his territory. All right, he's talking about the hunting again, and you get that impression that they're kind of like, we've already had. I mean, I don't want to talk about lords all the time. Let's talk about the latest this or that, or let's talk.
All right,
about...
I'll definitely get into the other stuff there, but I'm just trying to see. They didn't. Nobody bit as far as what our Lord does here.
No. Yeah. This is what, the second or third time you've chatted with servants from that house, and they recognize
I figure, what do people
you.
like to talk about? Work.
Yeah, or not all sorts of things. But it seems that maybe you've outfished this pool.
Okay. Not even a persuasion check?
No, I made different checks with other dice. I don't know what I would call it.
Got a 9 in it.
Oh, I'm sure you'll find another avenue for information gathering. You have so many tools at your disposal.
All right, and I am definitely paying attention to the voices and mannerism of the gentleman here, and any particular, if they have any sort of little verbal tics or particular phrases they say.
The nobles? Or the servants, I mean?
Servants, yeah. That if I need to imitate one of them, then one of them says "dude" a lot or whatever sort of thing.
You can pick up the local colloquialisms here. Is there any?
Well, not just colloquialisms, but I want to see if there's for any of these guys, like if I want to imitate a particular one of them, does he have a particular thing that he says or does that people like hearing his voice? And go, oh yeah, and he said that thing. That's definitely him. That's what he always says.
Right, like the Harvey Dent. You can take that to the bank, sort of thing.
Yeah, there you go.
Give me what would be a good check to pick up on someone's personal mannerisms? Maybe an insight check? Perception check?
Perception, insight, whichever you tell me. Here, I'll do it.
Let's roll with insight for this one. I feel like perception's more physical observation. Insight's more personal observation.
And insight's not.
Oh! You only had been the other insight check. No. Maybe no one's using their... You can take that to the banks here.
Yeah, there was like a group of artists that I was hanging out with once, and I noticed they all kept saying, "You see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying?" And I was like, "This is interesting." That that's their go-to. That is visual.
Mm-hmm.
All
yep.
right. Oof. So much for that. But if I can imitate the voices, still that's good. If I do. You know what? I'm getting tired of waiting. I would like to see a little bit more. I am going to do another late night prowl. I'm going to sneak out my window, go to the estate, sneak under that hedge, and try to sneak my way over to the... I'm going to watch the building for a while, paying attention to where there are candles and where there are not. Try to get a sense of what rooms that have balconies might be unoccupied.
Okay, so you're on the estate grounds. It is nighttime. You've crawled through the creek, which means you're a little bit damp and muddy. And you're looking...
I'll dry off.
Yeah, you're looking for the balconies, right?
Yes. Rooms that have balconies that I've seen, that I've noted here, but...
Right. So you've got this balcony, these two first floor balconies that are 10 feet up. You've got these third floor balconies that are 30 feet up. And at the very back of the house, let's move you around. Okay, let's move you around so the lighting will move around. At the very back of the house, on the 4th floor, there are a set of balconies. I think they are here and here. Yeah, I can just move you to the floor. Yeah, just move you here. Oh, it's token layer, that's why. There we go. Yeah, so there are 4th floor balconies here and here. And then
of those, which have I not seen any lighting at all? Kind of occupation.
And then these are covered balconies as well. So you're looking at the rooftops, but just under these roofs are balconies that are on the 3rd floor. You said which of the balconies have you seen lights on in?
Have I not seen lights on? I'm looking for a entry place that is not going to be occupied.
This balcony over here, you have not seen any. Yeah, you haven't seen any lights on either of the rooms on either side of the balcony. Yet.
All right. I am going to try to scale the wall.
All right, it is 40 feet up.
Yeah, we'll do some internal reconnaissance. I'll have my invisibility potion there with me. Should I need to?
Okay, so if you're gonna go climbing into this house, what gear do you have on you and where is it stored? It might become very important where that invisibility potion is, or if you have like, you know, a short bow with you. So what gear do you got?
All right, I'm gonna have the magic dagger.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to be wearing clothes that are as close to what the servants were wearing as possible. I know I'm not going to probably have colors, but just sort of the general thing, like, oh, their thing is a tunic, so I'll wear a tunic.
Yeah.
So that in the dark, it might look like what the servants might be wearing.
Sure. Okay, you've got as close to servants' clothes as you can muster. And what about tools?
Okay, I'm gonna have I'll have my thieves' tools. I will have my pouch, my waist. I will have the invisibility potion so that I can access that quickly. That'll be the only freaking thing I have in that pouch, so I'm not like fumbling around. You know, my driver's license. And I'll keep my my thieves' tools in a separate pouch.
What about gloves of swimming and climbing, or boots of elven kind, or your removable
I'm
rod?
obviously wearing the freaking boots of elven kind.
Okay. What about the gloves of swimming and climbing?
I can't see where they would be useful in climbing a 40-foot wall.
All right.
Of course, I'm wearing those.
Well, I'm just checking. Your +1 dagger?
Yeah, I said that I'm going to have that on.
Oh, right. Removable rod?
I shall have that because it might be useful in climbing or something.
Where are you going to store that on yourself?
How big is it? How long is it?
About yay long, maybe 2 feet or so, and about the diameter of a large D20.
All right. I guess I will have that too long. Probably the only good way to have that is at my side, almost if it was like a sword.
Okay, so tucked into your belt?
Put it in my belt, yeah.
Cool. And your invisibility potion, where is that?
That is in my belt pouch. As I said, only in the belt pouch so that I can get it without grabbing the wrong thing.
Cool. So no armor. No, your burglar's pack is left aside, so no rope or grappling hook or anything like that. No paper, ink, no shopo, no rapier. Brass knuckles?
I'll have the brass knuckles. You know what? I'll have the burglar's key. Did I need one of this?
So you've got like a full backpack then. Sounds like you've got most of your gear with you. So you're like...
You know what? I guess not the burglar's kit.
Yeah.
That's going to be too much. Could I wear the leather armor under the servantish outfit?
I mean, it would make the servantish outfit really bulky. The tunic's not meant to be worn over these like leather things, so it would be stretched to its max. It would make you more suspicious. Definitely.
All right, I won't do it then. Okay, so I will go ahead and climb on up using the gloves specifically designed for this.
Excellent. I think that gives you a full movement speed on climbing, so you can climb 30 feet around. And give me a athletics check or acrobatics check, whichever you prefer. There you go. You can scale the wall. It's got these nice large columns and handholds. It's nice brick with grout, but the brick sticks out fairly well, so you can scale the side of this building.
I'm hoping I'm using up all the bad rolls, but it doesn't matter as much. That the good rolls will be for later.
All right, you've made it up top. There are 3 doors here. They might be hard to see on the map, so I'm going to just call them out to you. Any of those areas where you see the darkness is sort of like a wobbly line, like right here, or here, or here, the wobbly lines are the doorways. So this green color is really not showing up. So this is a door, this is a door, and this is a door. I gotta get away from this green. I don't like this green.
All right, I will listen first over here.
Right, you put your ear to the door and listen, and it is still and quiet beyond that door.
All right. Same with the other door.
Same thing. Still and quiet.
The last door.
Same thing. Quiet all the way around.
All right, I'm gonna go through this door right here.
All right, you make your way to the door and find it locked, actually.
Oh, no.
Who would do such a thing? Never mind. That lock is temporarily disabled. As you can make yourself... I'll give you control of your character now. I've always had it, but I'll just leave it up to you to move around. You can move in.
All right, and I am going in full stealth as best I can. I've got.
Give me a stealth check then.
All right, and I get advantage because of the elven boots.
Yes. 21 on the stealth. You are definitely moving quietly.
I am the wind.
And here you are, inside this building. This noble's building, late at night.
Is it quiet? Does it seem like everyone's asleep?
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming dark passageways to help me out here up at the door. I mean, we don't have like lots of lights everywhere, do we?
No, there's light coming in through a window over here. This is like 2 days after the full moon or 3 days after the full moon, so there's a lot of moonlight coming in. And unless you close the door behind you, there's light coming in through this doorway.
I'm going to close the door, but not enough that it quite clicks shut.
Okay, so mostly closing.
Oh, it's going. Why is that door open?
Right. Okay.
All right. I will go take a peek over here. This is a hallway?
Hallway with doors on either side of the back of it.
All right. So I'm going to, on either side, I listen.
Give me a perception check. You hear some soft snoring coming through the door on your left.
Okay. Is the door open?
No, it is shut.
But I mean, open as it's locked, or
It is also no. You know what? It's unlocked. It is unlocked.
all right. I will very slowly open it. Take a peek inside.
Yeah, that's definitely not going to cut it. You can open the door and look on in. Forgive the lack of decorations, but it's too much to decorate an entire estate. This is a small bedroom. There is a little bed at the back area over here with a single person inside of it, fast asleep.
All right, looking around at the furnishings in here, does this, and the size of the room,
It looks like a servant's room, a lady's room, but at the same time, a private room just for one lady.
yeah,
So, probably a servant that's fairly high up in the servanthood of the household. Probably one of the top servants here.
alrighty. So back out. What about the other door?
The other door is also unlocked. And you can go on through into the servants' dining hall. There's a narrow table with lots and lots of chairs tucked around it. And this is very clearly the little room where the servants get to eat. Because they can't eat in the main dining room. That would be proper.
Just go back out to the balcony.
No, there's another door. There's another room in between. It's also unlocked, and you can step into it, and it's like the servants' parlor, where they can like hang out and relax when they have what little breaks they do have. And that door goes out to the balcony.
All right. Go back the way I came here.
Okay. Back here. Yep, there we go.
I wish it would show what I'd revealed instead of like, oh no, that room no longer exists.
Yes, I could do that, but I like to leave it as a sort of thing, so that way you might get lost if you don't know the layout personally very well, you know?
All right. Are there doors over here, or what's going on?
So we can see... gonna make some red marks. We can see a door here, 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 and here, and a different door right here. This door is clearly different. It is banded with metal and looks to be, you know, higher security door, so to speak.
I mean, it doesn't. Is it just a stronger door? Is it a fancier door?
It is both stronger and fancier. It's got like carvings embossed into it. Nothing too fancy, just like geometric patterns that run around it. And there are bands of metal that wrap around it that look sort of decorative, but are also definitely holding it together well. And a quick glance at the lock on it shows you that it is a far superior lock to these common ones that you see on all the other doors here.
All right. I feel silly doing this, but this is a D&D world, so I'm going to look for any sort of little traps or things on the door before I try to pick it.
Give
I
me
feel silly.
Give me a sleight of hand or perception. Either one will do. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be trapped.
I didn't think so. It's not like a bank traps its fault, but
Right.
it's D&D.
Right.
All right, I will take a shot at the lock.
That will not do it, actually. Your quick little jimmying of the lock does not work. You can try again. You can take your time, like take a full 10 minutes and try and pick the lock. Want, and you can keep trying that as many times as you want, but you'll need better than a 17.
All right. That door over there. It's be able to be sure. I'm gonna try to pick it, but I'm gonna pay very attention very much attention to any sounds I hear. I hear people getting up around so that I can go hide. 10 minutes is a long time.
It is a long time. Okay. So give me a perception check while you set to work on this thing, and we'll see if you hear any noises coming along. Well, I was going to say you have advantage because it's nighttime in a deathly quiet house.
Thank God.
Yeah.
And I have a 28.
Yes. So sure enough, you're maybe 2 minutes into trying this lock. You're making good progress when you hear the echoing footsteps coming from the stairs below.
All right, I am going to go through this door.
Mm-hmm.
And I will go into the servants' parlor.
Okay.
And I will stay quietly listening at that door in the parlor.
Sure. As you just sitting there listening, you can hear the footsteps all just kind of like ping where they echo from as they make their way kind of through the hallway. That one didn't go off at all. So, kind of coming down this way. And then slowly making their way back. And then a perception check. No, doesn't notice that door is left ajar. And then the footsteps descend the stairs and disappear. Well, go down a level and soften and then slowly fade away.
All right. So they've got guards patrolling here. Once it's gone away, I will go back out. Try to continue picking that lock.
All right. You can head back to this lock and give it another pick. You are uninterrupted in these next 10 minutes. Another thieves' tools. Ooh. Still no go. Yep.
And I especially got expertise in this.
Just for those difficult locks. It's a good thing you did, otherwise you might never pick it, but you're still having trouble with it.
I'm gaining a lot of respect for this lock.
Mm-hmm. It's been like 10 minutes of picking, maybe 2 minutes of waiting. What do you want to do?
I'm gonna, since they clearly put a lot of effort and have a very nice lock here, I'm going to
respect the integrity of the lock and leave it alone.
I'm gonna try one more time, and I'm again listening. Since I know there's a guard patrol that does this, especially listening to that guard.
Yeah. Here's my D10. Right, so you're working on the lock, and just as you get to make your roll, make your roll.
Oh, I thought you said just as I got to make it.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see what the result is before I finish my sentence for dramatic effect. Just as your roll succeeds, you hear the footsteps on the stairs again. Just as you get the lock unlocked.
All right, I shall duck inside, and hopefully that's not where they keep the family dragon.
All right, you slip onto the other side of the doorway as you hear something come up the stairs. Probably some sort of armed guard by the sound of the jingling chain and the heavy footsteps as it makes its way around the room. But you find yourself in this small atrium. There's some decorative tables around with mirrors and vases and flowers. But this room doesn't really have much going on in it. It's really more of a connecting room. There's a staircase down here and a doorway here. Right there. Yeah, this is some sort of...
All right. I assume this was going to be either a treasure room or very secure quarters. I'll listen at this door.
There's a dog on the other side of the door somewhere. No, there's no dog. It's pretty quiet on the other side of that door.
The way you described it was so real, I felt like I could actually hear it.
Well, that's, a good DM will make you hear things that aren't really there because it's part of the immersion. Yeah, it's the illusion spell I have cast.
It's such an amazing feel. I'm just gonna keep imagining it.
Yeah, it'll fade slowly over time. Don't worry about it.
But let's hope. Yeah.
Yeah. You can listen at this door, and it's still as the grave on the other side.
All right. Does it have a fancy lock? What do we got here?
It doesn't. It has more of a common lock on it. Oh, where's the rolls when you need them?
Yeah.
You pop on through to the other side and find yourself in a fancy upstairs parlor with windows looking out. There's a fireplace. There's like an elevated area with couches and cushions to like hang out in. There's a table with not coffers, vessels. What are those vessels with alcohol called? Not a coffer, but a crevasse? No. Cravats? Carafes, that's the word.
Yeah,
Carafes of darkly colored alcohol. You see there's some party hats lying around too, sort of like stacked up on each other, waiting to be used. There's a whole stack of decorations that look like they're going to be put up soon, but they haven't been assembled yet. All sorts of things in a fancy upstairs parlor with its own fireplace. There's an exit here. You can't see that for some reason. There we go. There's an exit here, and the same way that you came in, and windows here and here and here. All those little whitish squares on the ground are windows.
All right. By smell, can I find the strongest alcohol?
Yeah, you sort through them, and one of them is slightly stronger. One of them is 5 percentage points stronger than the others.
That's it? We don't have anything super strong here?
Most of them are 35%, and one of these is 40%.
Okay.
40% is pretty strong. It's not...
All right. I shall empty my wineskin by pouring a little bit into each of the other carafes. And then I shall fill my wineskin from the strongest carafe. And then I shall refill that carafe with the other carafes, getting them to pretty much where they were before.
Wait, okay. So you take your wineskin of super concentrated alcohol.
I take my normal wineskin.
Your normal wineskin.
I don't have the one from Ripley yet.
Okay.
Doing this while Ripley is taking care of stuff.
All right, so you take regular wine and you mix it with like the rum and the gin and the...
I'm pouring it a little bit into each of the others, unless there's an empty carafe that I can use.
There are glasses nearby that could be used, just empty glasses.
Right. So in that case, I'll just pour a bit of... I'll pour my wine into the empty glasses.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll fill my wineskin from the carafe of the stronger stuff. That I get whatever... I guess it doesn't have to be full. I'll halfway fill it.
Right.
That I have something super fancy that would be what he would drink. If somebody might go, oh yes, that's what we served at the party. Then I will refill that strong stuff back up to where it was, so that it seems like it's full.
Right.
By pouring a little bit, we're making our own cocktail here from each of the others.
So
and then I'll top those off with the alcohol from the glass.
Okay, so you've sort of mixed all the alcohols together. You've got one that's like a pure mix of just like everything. You've got like gin and rum and vodka and tequila.
Like halfway out of it,
right?
To like half out, so it's it's still mostly what it originally was,
Mhm.
with some other stuff mixed in.
Okay, so you have polluted the alcohols with you've sort of just like mixed the alcohols together, and you now have a wineskin of stronger stuff. I'm a little confused as to the function of what you're doing, or the end goal of what you're doing, but I see that what has been done.
Yeah, the goal was to get a wineskin full of the strongest stuff.
Right.
And then, but not have it be apparent that I've actually taken anything.
Okay. Sure. You have a wineskin of the strongest stuff. The others look more or less level, and have been slightly mixed with each other to even out the levels.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of mix, but I'm guessing that somebody who's drinking is probably not going to be like, this brandy seems like it's got a little taste of whiskey to it, but if it's only like 10%.
Right.
That's my hope anyway. I don't know. I was reading how there was a guy who would, with wine experts, like after everyone had had their first glass of wine, would break out just like the shittiest boxed wine. Tell them like, oh, this is the amazing stuff, and serve it to them all, and they'd be like, yes, the amazing stuff. And he's, it's only $250 a bottle if you want some. Yes, more of that fine, amazing wine. And he would sell just the shittiest wine to wine experts.
Wow. Way to make a living.
The people that think they're experts on alcohol aren't actually as expert as they think they are, especially if they've had a drink or two.
Hey, you have your wines, you have your alcohol, you're in this room.
All
What's
right.
the plan?
What's this little door go to out there?
Well, it's a locked door, for starters.
All right.
So we'll have to pick it to see where it leads.
It's not a locked door. I don't know.
It is no longer a locked door, and it leads right outside to a balcony.
Oh, that's all it does. Well, I guess it's a way out. All right, back inside.
Okay.
Close that door. What's this little space over here? Just more...
Yeah, it's part of the parlor that's raised up above the rest of the parlor.
All right. So back out. I guess I'll see what's down those stairs. Maybe if there is horrible stuff going on here, it's down there.
Okay.
Behind super locked doors.
You head down the stairs. And let me bring you to the next floor. What? How? Oh, that's how. That's how. Okay, you're in this room. Chat can see things that you're not supposed to see. But that's fine. I clearly should not have done that. I should not have assigned that character to the viewing bot. There we go. Done.
And now what I'm seeing is my character is sitting in darkness.
You don't see a room?
I see a room, and I see my character like about 4 squares off. There we go.
You don't see you're
Now
on the staircase, right?
I see my character getting moved around.
You don't see light though around you?
Yes.
Okay.
I saw you moving my character around. My character was off, like out of that room entirely.
Okay, cool. Good. Now it's all working then.
All right, so I'm still being stealthy in elven boots and everything. Anything? Looks like there's a door to the north. Anything
There's
else?
a door to the north, south, and the west.
Listen at each.
Give me a perception check. you can hear what sounds like... How do we describe? It sounds like angry muttering coming from the room to the south.
Angry muttering.
Angry muttering, yeah. And as you're looking around, this door to the north looks like another one of those reinforced banded doors with a superior lock.
I'll take a shot at it. Hopefully I'll get a good roll right off.
Take a shot at which room? Which
The
door?
superior lock to the north.
All right. You get through it and step out into this hallway.
Why do things just lead to things? Why is there always another hallway that leads somewhere else? All
Because
this
it's
nice, pretty bullshit.
a large estate with lots of rooms and hallways and stuffs.
All right. Oh man, they can't just like put all the important stuff behind something. It's got they. All right. So now what's all this?
All this, give me a... Well, you've already scored really high on your perception checks before. You, once again, hear the sound of feet moving through the area. Sound of chainmail jingling.
Another guard. I go back through. I guess this is just another way into the fancy high security area. I close that door.
All right. You
That's
can hear
not being guarded by the door. That's just access to.
Right, so you hear the footsteps bopping around, and then you hear a door open and softly close, and a pair of voices whispering. If you give me a perception check, I'll tell you what they're saying, but otherwise it's just whispers. You'll need a 15 on your perception check.
No, you just said if I give you one.
Well, you got the 15 because, as we said, it's quiet, so you have advantage. You can hear two guards talking about the changing of the shift, and one of them is saying, "Really? It can't be time." And the other is saying, "What, you think I'm screwing you over? It's time. You know, let me get some rest." And the other one's like, all right. Anything to report?" First guard says, "No, nothing interesting, as usual. Just, empty, quiet house." Second guard says, fine, all right. Have a good night. I'll see you later.
What's in this room that I can hide behind?
This room's pretty much empty. It's just like an atrium. There's some table, like not night tables, but what's the word for just like a decorative table that has some drawers that you can shove things in. Might find in an atrium or a hallway. There's it's a specific word that I'm lacking.
Table?
Yeah, it's like an end table. That's close enough.
That's like Watergate burglar level.
Yeah.
You said to the south there was angry muttering of a guard who's probably going to get relieved soon, so I'm probably going to have to hide. Was there another door here?
Yeah, there's a door on your left. Okay.
All right, listen to that one.
Seems pretty quiet.
All right, is it locked?
Yeah, no, actually it's not.
All right, in I go.
You slip on in and find yourself in a small-ish bedroom, but it is well taken care of. It's got like silk sheets and bed pillows and decorations, and there's actually a painting of a young man in noble regalia with a stoic, brave look off into the horizon, like he's about to take on the whole world. But the bed is unoccupied.
All right, I'm gonna look at that painting later if I do see the Frederick or the Lord, then see if it's them.
This guy in the painting has a blue cap with a white feather in it, a gold cloak with silver trim, a blue button-down shirt, palish arms from never going outside in the sun. Looks like one of them blue bloods.
All right. So there's just a fancy bedroom?
Fancy bedroom, yeah.
I'm looking around for the accoutrement of this. Does it seem like it's a little special love nest room?
It doesn't. Give me an investigation check. See if we can't get you. 10 is all you needed, thank God. This looks like it was perhaps once a nursery. Because as you look around, there is this nice painting of the young man, but you also notice that there's like some kid things in here from like a long time ago, as if this was the room that you would put your young child in, while like the parents have the nice room somewhere else. This would be like the kids' room.
An awfully high security nursery.
Right. But either this is no longer Frederick's bedroom, or he is not sleeping, or he has moved on to sleeping in a bedroom that is not his. But it looks like this was probably, at least once upon a time, his bedroom.
All right. Anything else noticeable or exits from this room? I'm guessing not.
There's the window on the left, but that's it.
All right. I'm gonna listen if there's a changing of the guard.
Yeah, you listen, and actually, as you're putting your ear to the door and hearing, you hear the sound of jingling keys and hurried footsteps as something or someone walks past your door and... Lord? Lord, are you still awake? Comes a older voice, an older masculine voice. A door opens, and the sound of a young man comes through, saying, What is it?
Is that the angry muttering voice that I heard?
Yeah. But what is it, Mr. Hill? And the older gentleman says, it's probably nothing, my lord, but there was a door found unlocked on the top floor, and open slightly, an outside door. The young man says, and what of it? Some servant probably left it unlocked. It's probably nothing. The knight says, probably nothing, but I'm gonna ask you to stay with me until the guards have finished searching the building, just to be doubly safe, my lord. Your father would kill me, have me flayed if something were to happen to you. And the young voice says, fine. Well, what do we do now? Just wait? The knight says, I'll sit with you until I've gotten the all clear from the other guards. And then the door shuts, and the voices diminish as if they're now between two doors from you.
All right.
And this is a good point right here, as the house is getting searched, to end our show.
Uh-huh.
We will be back. This is the ending time, right? Yes. Okay. Time. We schedule in Pacific, but I live in Mountain, so sometimes I get a little confused. This will be the end of Assassin for this week. We will come back next week and see how and if we are going to get out of this, because maybe you'll just get caught searching the house and get strung up and executed, which would be interesting. It could happen. They're looking for someone in the house right now.
It could happen to somebody else.
It could happen to you, Rob. It could happen to you. So we'll see. That will be our show next week. Before we go, this show is brought to you by Goleta.
The Good Land.
The Good Land.
Home of the Lemon Festival.
Home of an avocado festival, too. Well, sometimes. That's actually the avocado festival's around there.
So they got that big, giant, cut-sized lemon that they break out for the Lemon Festival to advertise that.
As if a lemon festival needs advertising. I mean, I know I go back every year.
When you've got lemonade and
lemon ice cream.
Pie.
Oh, and lemon pie, lemon meringues, lemon tarts, lemon tea. Tell us about the other lemon products there, Rob.
It's not a lemon, but they got that little mini train that you can ride around the park.
Oh, the little train, yeah.
And in the mini train station, what's in the mini train station?
Lemons.
A mini train set that takes up a room You never went and saw the mini train set?
You know, I am such a fan of the Lemon Festival that it all blends together, and it's just sheer joy and ecstasy for me. And when I leave, it's so sad that I have to try and repress those memories until I can go back next year. But I do, yeah. That's it for our show, which is actually brought to you by the Wizards of the Coast and Goleta and lemons and avocados.
Was the Central Coast?
Wizards of the Golden Coast. Wizards of the Central. Actually, I think they're based out of what, like Seattle?
Yes.
Okay, that's a reasonable area as well.
It's a beautiful area. I lived up there.
You never lived in.
I did, and now my middle daughter lives there, and she keeps trying to get me to move up there. She says, "Dad, it's the land of our people, not Mexicans, but in this case, geeks and nerds."
Right, your people, geeks and nerds, our people, Rob, our people. Please be inclusive. Yeah. So that's it for Assassin. We'll be back next week with more murdering. Well, with some murdering. We haven't murdered anyone
We haven't had
today.
any murdering yet. Not even James.
I really thought that you were gonna, do away with James, but that's fine. You don't have to. You do whatever you want to do. Don't let me tell you how to play the game.
If idiot would go riding, then I wouldn't even have to kill anybody except him. But no, I had to go find out if he's just like, got a room with an Xbox and a PlayStation and like everything else set up there. He never goes outside. What kind of jerk lives like that?
That would be the way to kill someone. You smear some sort of like contact poison on their controller. You just smear it all over the controller, and they'll just sit there and use that for hours without noticing. It would be that's the way to get someone in the real world. Contact poison, video game controller, or mouse and keyboard. Same. That's it for us. We will be back next week.
We wouldn't even have to poison the entire keyboard, just like the ASD.
Just the 4 keys and the mouse, and you're good. All right. We're out. We'll be back next week. Goodbye, everybody.